They say the first night in a new apartment always feels strange, but for Emily, it was supposed to feel like freedom. She had just turned 27, had landed a remote job that paid decently, and after years of roommates and shared bathrooms, she'd finally found a one-bedroom apartment in a quiet part of town. It wasn't glamorous, third-floor walk-up, creaky floors, and the occasional power flicker, but it was hers. Clean slate, a place to breathe. The building was old, probably 1950s construction. It had charm, hardwood floors, antique doorknobs, tall windows that let in golden light in the afternoon. The landlord, a soft-spoken woman in her 60s, had only one rule: no pets, and keep the hallway lights off after midnight. Emily moved in on a Saturday. By Sunday night, her things were mostly in place. She made tea, played lo-fi music on her laptop, and curled up on the couch to read. For the first time in months, she felt still. That's when the knock came. It was faint, not from the front door, from inside the apartment, somewhere near the bedroom. She stood up, confused. Nothing. She checked the door, locked, the windows, closed. She chalked it up to the building settling. Old wood expands and shifts. Nothing paranormal. But then, at 3:17 a.m., her bedroom lamp turned on by itself. No timer, no smart plug, just on. The next few days were normal. Almost. Emily told herself the lamp thing was a wiring issue. She switched outlets, replaced the bulb, slept with her phone flashlight nearby just in case. Then came the cold spots, not drafts, entire patches of the apartment where the air felt 10 degrees colder, one right in front of her bathroom door, another behind the couch, and they moved, one day to the next, never in the same place. Her cat, Milo, who had stayed with her sister temporarily, came to visit one afternoon. He refused to enter the apartment, hissed at the hallway, bristled at the door. Emily laughed it off, but her sister didn't. He's never acted like that at my place. That night, Emily heard footsteps above her, but she was on the top floor. At 2:41 a.m., she woke up to the sound of whispering. She couldn't make out the words. It wasn't loud, more like the faint sound of someone talking behind a wall. But the wall behind her bedroom? It didn't connect to another unit. She put her ear to it. Nothing. She slept with the lights on that night. Emily had never experienced sleep paralysis. But what happened on her 7th night in the apartment didn't match the symptoms. She woke up around 3:30 a.m., not frozen, not paralyzed, but numb, like her body had been asleep too long. The room was lit by her nightstand lamp, but the shadows looked wrong. They were longer, taller, like someone was standing at the foot of her bed. She sat up. There was nothing there, but the air felt thick, the way it feels before a thunderstorm. She stood slowly, walked to the kitchen to get water. As she passed the hallway mirror, something caught her eye. Her reflection was already looking at her, not turning with her, already staring. She dropped the glass. It shattered on the tile, but the sound was muffled, like she was underwater. She rushed to the mirror. Her reflection matched again. Normal. Her heartbeat wouldn't slow. She decided right then to set up a cheap security camera she'd bought on impulse months ago. Just to be sure. She told herself it was just anxiety, just a new space. But deep down, she already knew. She wasn't alone in that apartment. Emily didn't watch the footage the first day. She installed the camera on a high shelf in the living room, angled toward the hallway. It had night vision, motion detection, and uploaded clips to a private folder. When she checked the next morning, there were no alerts, no sounds, no movement. But on the third night, everything changed. The camera captured 3 motion events, all between 3 a.m. and 3:20 a.m. Clip 1, nothing, just static. Clip 2, the hallway, empty. But the front door was slightly open. She always locked it. Clip 3, a shape. It was there for less than 2 seconds, tall, motionless, in the far left of the frame, just beside the edge of the doorway. Not a shadow, not a trick of light. A figure, too tall for a person. Long arms, no visible face. Then gone. Emily watched it 5 times, each time expecting a glitch to explain it. A curtain, a coat, but there was nothing there. She checked the door, still locked. She didn't sleep that night. The next day, she bought 3 more cameras. Over the next week, Emily became obsessed with the recordings. Every morning, she reviewed them. Some days, nothing. Others, impossible things. Cabinet doors swinging open, lights flickering while she was at work. One video showed her keys floating midair for half a second before falling. She posted a short clip anonymously to a paranormal forum. The comments were instant. "You're being warned. That's not a ghost. That's residual intelligence. Check the basement. It always starts near the ground." Emily didn't want to check the basement, but that's where the building's fuse box was, and her power had started flickering every night. So on the 8th night, she went down. The air was wet. The smell, mold and copper. She held her phone flashlight forward as she descended the stairs. Halfway down, the light on her phone died. Then the basement light turned on, by itself. It was dim, orange, and buzzing. She stepped into the room and immediately saw something in the back corner, a pile of charred mail, scorched, but not recent. Dozens of letters unopened, all addressed to different tenants who had lived in her unit. She grabbed one. Emily Renner, past due, final notice. Her name, her handwriting, but dated 2 years before she moved in. The recordings escalated. Now the figure didn't just appear in the hallway. It moved, fast, jerky, almost between frames. It would be at one end of the hall, then instantly at the other, like the camera couldn't track it fully. One night, at 3:17 a.m., the camera picked up a sound. Not a thump, not a footstep, a voice. She sees now. She sees. Emily froze when she heard it. She rewound, played it again. Same voice. But something was off, slowed it down. It sounded like her own voice, just distorted, reversed. She checked the other recordings, more clips with faint whispering, sometimes unintelligible, sometimes clearly saying her name. Once, the hallway camera recorded her standing in the hallway, staring at the camera, while she was asleep, on the couch. She checked her phone timestamp. She was sleeping, but the figure on camera, identical to her, stood still for 6 minutes before walking backwards out of frame. She called her sister in tears. They agreed. Emily would leave the apartment by the weekend. That was Thursday. That night, the final clip was recorded. No motion alert, no sound. Just a single image, uploaded at 3:33 a.m. The image was of her bedroom, taken from inside her closet. She lived alone. Emily moved out on a Saturday. She didn't tell the landlord why. She didn't argue about the deposit. She just handed over the keys, avoided eye contact, and left. Her sister helped her bring everything to their parents' place, 2 cities away. Her new room was smaller but clean. White walls, carpeted floor, sunlight in the morning. It felt safe for 2 days. On the 3rd morning, she woke up to her lamp flickering. It was the same lamp from the apartment. She had packed it by accident. She unplugged it immediately, but it kept pulsing faintly. She put it in the trash. That night, she had her first nightmare since leaving. She was in her old hallway. The lights were off. The figure stood at the far end. Same height, same blur where a face should be. but this time it moved toward her. She tried to run, but her feet didn't move. As it got closer, she saw her own reflection in its chest, as if she were trapped inside it. She woke up screaming. On her nightstand was a single piece of paper. You left the door open. Emily's sister installed new cameras in the house, 2 in the hallway, 1 in Emily's room. This time, Emily didn't want to review them. She didn't want to know, but she couldn't ignore it, because things started disappearing. Small things, hair ties, socks, a toothbrush, always items she'd touched within the last hour. Once her phone vanished for 10 minutes, then reappeared, unlocked, with the front camera open. She checked the photos. Nothing new, except one image in the recently deleted folder, a shot of her sleeping, taken from the corner of the ceiling. She asked her family if they'd seen anything unusual. Her sister hesitated, then said, "Last night, I thought I saw you in the hallway, but you were sleeping." The footage confirmed it. At 3:33 a.m., Emily appeared in the hallway, or something that looked exactly like her. It stood still for 30 seconds, then walked into her room. The footage ended there. She went to a priest, then a psychic, then a therapist. Each had a different explanation. A residual haunting, a fractured soul, delusional trauma response. Emily stopped trying to explain it. She started documenting again. This time she noticed something. Patterns. Always around 3:33 a.m., always technology-based. Cameras, lights, devices. Always something that mirrored her. Her face, her voice, her body. One night she looked in the mirror and said her name aloud. Her reflection said it before her. That's when she stopped using mirrors. That's when she bought a burner phone with no camera, no apps. She tried to disconnect, but the house's smart TV turned on by itself. No input, just a static screen. Then, her bedroom. Live feed. From above. Then, a new message burned into the pixels. We don't live in the walls. We live in the echo. Emily moved again, changed her name, lives off-grid now. She never kept the footage, but she says the signal still finds her, in reflections, in sleep, in silence. She says it never wanted the apartment, it wanted the attention. And if you're still listening now, at this point in the story, then maybe it wants you too.